But for now, we're looking ahead to that big game against Benfica. You would say Newcastle were probably the favourites to take 3 Champions League points in this fixture, but it's Jose Mourinho, it's Mourinho coming back to English football. It's a real opportunity for him to remind everybody where he is at Benfica. I mean, Benfica have not been on top of the Portuguese league this season. They obviously changed manager, hence why Mourinho's here, but I think ultimately this game he will want to stamp his authority back in, the Champions League with Newcastle. So, narrowly beaten for Benfica at Chelsea in the last group game, but coming here, it's always special for Mourinho because of the Sir Bobby Robson links. He's actually going to take a walk down to the statue when he gets here to pay tribute to his former boss, the man who gave him his big chance in English football. So we know all the history. It's been done before, but it's something that he wants to do again. And really, for Newcastle fans, they'll see this as a chance to bounce back from that defeat at Brighton at the weekend. They weren't at their best at key times in the game. Obviously going a goal down after a sort of sluggish start, got back into it. Big Nick getting the equaliser in front of the away end, and you thought, yep, Newcastle are the only team who are going to win this from here. But sadly, Brighton just reminded everybody what a good side they are, and came back to win it with just 6 minutes left. Eddie Howe saying he didn't like a lot of aspects of that game, but he did see signs of fight. He sees tomorrow's game as an opportunity to just calm things down again a little bit. But one where Newcastle, with 1 win on the board already, it's important that they do have a foothold in this revamped Champions League. Remember, every win is worth £1.8 million. To do well, they'll just want to see Newcastle climb up that table and stack the money up. It all goes into the PSR kitty. So Newcastle now, going into this, they lost against Barcelona. They quickly learned. They went in against a very good Union SG team away in Belgium last time, and absolutely thrashed the Belgian league leaders. Will it be a little bit harder? I would say it will be, because of the fact that Portugal for me is a much better league than Belgium. But I think really all games under the lights here are special, and I think Mourinho will play up to that. I think he will. I think he'll sense on any nervousness in the crowd. It was Mourinho who coined the phrase "park the bus," and I do think that he could end up parking the bus here himself tomorrow night. So Jose Mourinho has just left St James's Park. His press conference was captivating, it has to be said. And for me, he's one of the A-list managers in football, and a lot of people have had a lot of opinions about him in the past. But for me, he's somebody who always comes here and shows loads of respect. And I thought that was what really did sort of glare out of that press conference, was the fact that he spoke of his affection for Newcastle. He spoke of his relationship with Sir Bobby Robson, his love for Sir Bobby, his gratitude for Sir Bobby, and how he used to tell him about his, love of Newcastle United when he first brought him into the game. And he says, not a day goes by where I don't sort of think back to those times. He says that people sometimes visit him in that moment, and I think he was obviously talking about memories coming back to him from Sir Bobby. And I think that today we just really did see one of the true greats in the dugout. But the great thing was as well that he spoke with so much respect. He was obviously asked about how, did he regret not taking the Newcastle job, and he said, well, I didn't regret it because I've never actually been offered it. And he said, I hope I don't get offered it for a long time, because he loves Eddie Howe and he loves the job that Eddie Howe's doing at this football club. And he also spoke about the moment that Newcastle won the Carabao Cup. I asked him about it in the press conference. I didn't think I was actually going to get a question in because the demand was insane, but the press officer eventually passed me the microphone a second time. I thought I'd got a question earlier on, but he eventually passed me the microphone and I got a question in. I asked him, how did you feel that moment when you saw Newcastle United lifting the cup? And he said he was absolutely delighted for Newcastle, delighted for the fans, delighted for the Geordies, and said, I hope that, they go on and win something bigger. And then, after he had paid respect to Eddie Howe, I suppose if you look at it, he didn't really close the door on one day. Perhaps, in the future, a long time in the future, who knows, that, maybe there might be a chance for him. But I think so respectful, and he was never going to come here and talk himself up for the job. He just wanted to speak passionately about football, and I think, the amount of people that waited outside to see him as well. I mean, there was a lot of Benfica fans there, but I think, he's got the respect of the Newcastle crowd, and I think tomorrow night we see hopefully an amazing game of football, and he expects his team to give it everything. He actually says that his team could get through with 15 points. They're sitting on none at the moment, but he says 15 points could be enough to get them through. Newcastle have already got 3, so maybe if Newcastle are listening to that, they might only think they need a few more wins to get through to the knockout stages or the playoff stages of this brilliant competition that's now back at St James's Park. So let's hope Newcastle and Mourinho have a really good battle here tomorrow night. We hope Newcastle win, of course, but tonight was all about Mourinho coming here. His flight was a little bit delayed, but he got here in the end, and the press officer wrapped the press conference up after half an hour. It was 15 minutes over what normally managers give, so he actually gave an extra 15 minutes there. I think that was brilliant. He did get asked one more question. He says, look, we've got to go to dinner now, and Mourinho took a look around St James's Park as well before he left and looked at the pitch, and as he walked out of St James's, had a quick look at Sir Bobby Robson's bust, which is in the Milburn stand reception, and you could see, he's a man full of emotion. So brilliant night, and the football kicks off tomorrow night at 8 PM here at St James's Park.